Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So, I don't think this one is going to be very long. There was one more race that someone else pointed my attention to. There was another lefty in the race. Shout out to Jeff Williamson for pointing this out. Dana Balter is also running in New York. And her race was weird because the Democratic Party, the DCCC, instigated itself so much in that race that the people, party bosses, condemned the party. This was actually in The Intercept, right here. Right here. Let's see. Let's start at the top. In November 2017 was a very good for one. Election day in November 2017 was a very good one for what? Was it a very good one for Democrats? The party reclaimed the governor's mansion in New Jersey, swept the state of Virginia, and won a wide swath of races in Pennsylvania and elsewhere. In Syracuse, New York, a heavily Democratic city, things didn't go quite as well. The party's nominee for mayor, Juanita Perez Williams, lost in a landslide to an independent candidate, even managing to lose her own neighborhood by 2-1. In some lines of work, who is this? Juanita Perez Williams. Juanita Perez Williams. That's the person getting the stuff and beat out of him by the lefty in the race, Dana Balter. Let me flip this to make sure. Let's see where we're at, because they haven't called it yet. Okay, she's gaining a little bit. But so far, 62%, 37%, with 74% of the precincts recorded. Dana Balter for Medicare for All, Green New Deal, century lefty. Let's keep going. But she lost her own district where she was running for mayor. Jesus Christ, that's brutal. And some lines of work, a failure so complete might earn somebody a demotion, a period of probation, or rethinking of whether the career path and the skill set are a perfect marriage. But this is the Democratic Party politics where consequences are for people, not for politicians. And so, the performance earned her an invitation to the headquarters of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, touching off another intra-party saga that will go to pit the National Party against grassroots activists. National Party against grassroots activists. Within just a few days of the loss, Perez Williams was in Washington, D.C., sitting down with top-tier Democratic operatives who saw, in her failed campaign, the makings of a promising 2018 congressional candidate. Do you hear what they're saying? This woman lost her own district. Couldn't win her own district. 2-1. She was that bad. Do you know how bad you have to be to people where you live say no, not so much? And the Democratic Party says, you know what? That level of failure, that woman has something in her that we, the Democratic Party, likes. Bring her to DC and let's have a talk. Now, there's already problematic here. The Democratic Party in DC is choosing who it wants in these congressional campaigns. Right off the bat, that should tell you that there's problems here. The woman lost her own district, and you still didn't take that into consideration when you're trying to make a choice on who you want to govern. Top down, choosing the candidates. Top down, choosing the candidates. Let's keep going. The whole point is supposed to be the opposite. That's what I'm getting at. She was flattered, she later said, but she declined the entreaties to take on the incumbent Republican John Katko, though she made sure to let the public know she'd been recruited by the DCCC. They all came together and were calling me, telling me I could do this, Perez Williams told Syracuse.com in an interview in January. While I'm very humbled to be asked, I'm going to sit this one out and support the designee. With Perez Williams out of the race, a field of 3 was gradually whittled down to 1, as a local official and another progressive organizations all rallied around Dana Balter, a professor of public policy and a leader of one of the largest indivisible chapters. Indivisible is a syndicate of grassroots chapters that came together after the 2016 election to resist the Trump agenda. Perez Williams herself got behind Balter, giving her $250 at a fundraiser on Thursday before Easter. But the DCCC wasn't finished with Syracuse. Juanita is a Latina, an accomplished veteran and a prosecutor, and has deep roots and support in Syracuse region, and she has every right to run for Congress, Meredith Kelly, a spokesman for the DCCC, told The Intercept. Just a few days after a donation to Balter, Perez Williams decided to exercise that right in a last-minute reversal that his local Democrats incensed. Perez Williams, with the help of the DCCC, launched a paid canvassing operation in early April to attempt to collect enough signatures to land on the ballot ahead of Thursday's deadline. So understand what's taking place. The party had made a choice on who the party wanted to run in that election. They chose the person who was probably the weakest person that they could find and plucked her and brought her to DC after an embarrassing, brutal, crushing loss. The grassroots candidate who the public wanted was in the race. Juanita, the Latina, as the Democrats call it, gave that person $250, saying, I don't want to get into the race. Balter gave her $250. I don't want to get into the race. Here's money. I want to get behind your campaign. I like what you're putting out. But apparently somebody was still whispering in her ear, and whispered in her ear enough to say, okay, I understand I gave you $250, but at the last minute, I'm going to do a canvassing operation and get on the ballot. The person who you're seeing on the ballot is literally she wins! The lefty wins again! Dana Balter, it's declared 62%, 37%, with 75% of the precincts reporting. New York House District 24 Democratic Party, Dana Balter beats the stuffing out of the establishment candidate. Woohoo! Woohoo! Fucking A! Congratulations, Dana Balter. Congratulations. The Democratic Party has been monkeying around with their process, just like they've been monkeying around with the process all across the United States. But in this case, the grassroots candidate won. Congratulations, Dana Balter. Congratulations. I'm not going to keep this one long. I just wanted to point out, it looks like she was going to win, so I wanted to get in at the last minute to kind of give her a heads up. I want to thank Jeff, I'm sorry, for pointing this out, because I hadn't noticed this particular race. I have been so focused on the Ocasio-Cortez race, but I had the opportunity to look over her information in regards to what she was putting forth. She's a lefty. And when you look at what the Democratic Party was doing, monkeying around with the process, looking for the weakest person they could find to run, not going by what the public wanted, by the way, and just, they were condemned for this. Meaning, the Democrats, the local Democrats, condemned them for this. Right here. Perez Williams was not immediately available for comment, but she told Syracuse.com that an elected female official that I looked up to urged her to get into the race, though wouldn't identify who it was. It's likely Kristen Gillibrand, the New York Democratic senator, as she recently gave money to Balter. She explained that Balter hadn't raised enough money or gotten enough attention nationally, so she decided to jump in and try to save the party. You've just lost. You just lost your own district. Who are you saving? You couldn't save yourself. Are you serious? Are you serious? Someone trying to save the... whatever. That may be how the DCCC sees it, but the move has been met with scorn on the ground. Whenever the National Democratic Party intervenes in a competitive primary, it does so under the rationale that it is smarter for the party to unify behind a single candidate and focus its firepower on beating the Republican opponent. But in this case, the DCCC has pushed another candidate to get into the race, creating a competitive primary where none existed. 4 Democratic county chairs from the district, all of whom who have been in the dark about the DCCC maneuvering, released a unified statement blasting the party's intervention. Understand, the person who they put into the race got the stuffing beat out of her for mayor and couldn't even win her own race. But the Democratic Party looked at her and said, you know what? That's the material that we need to run in the 24th district. She got the stuffing beat out of her. by a lefty. I don't know if Dana Balter is taking campaign money from corporations and so forth. Ocasio-Cortez was not. She ran a clean race. Either way, I get a thrill out of the Democratic candidate losing. I get a thrill out of their choice losing. So I'm not going to keep this video long. This video was kind of a lefty in another race won. Dana Balter, good job, good job. And of course, Ocasio-Cortez has also won her race. So thanks, guys. Just a heads up. Night, everyone.